ready for the hardening process now, and what I've done is I've bolted the 4 blanks to the end of a piece of wood, piece of steel angle, so that I can lay it in there into the forge and rest it in there and pick it up with welding gloves without the need for tongs. This time I'm using some out-of-date vegetable oil for quenching in, as used by one of my friends that also makes knives. Same wok forge as before, with the hoover as the fan, the air supply, bit of car exhaust pipe for the feed. There's the hoover over there behind the hedge, or behind the holly bush rather. The exhaust pipe for the air feed, and the wok on top of the pan. I've also got my large speaker magnet to test to see when they've lost magnetism. It should be quite easy because the magnet won't stick to them. Obviously, that's what magnetism does. In the forge today is just coal. There's an old bit of rag on there to help it get going as well. Just mainly coal that I found in an abandoned building, an old industrial warehouse, which the site is all derelict and been mostly demolished now. But it was a bit soggy when I got it, but it dries out, still usable. Used it before, so it's fine. So the idea is, with the forging, is to get the blanks, the blades, up to a cherry red colour, which is around about 800 degrees centigrade, at which point they will become non-magnetic, and then I can quench them into the oil. So I'll fire up the forge and get cracking with that. And there we go, that's the hardening process. Right, once the blades have been hardened, well, I let them cool down in the oil for a bit, and then soak them in oil just to finish cooling them off. I mean, they're covered in oil at the moment still, and that's what we've got to do next. We've got to get rid of all the oil that's off on them. So we take all this apart. Right, now all of these are apart, we can start cleaning them up. So I get most of it off with the brass brush, the brass bristle brush rather. And once they've been roughly cleaned up, they look like that, so a bit grubby and horrible. So I use a Common Garden belt sander turned upside down to smooth them off and get rid of all that blackness. So I'll get on with that now. And as you can see, it's starting to shine it up, so it'll take a bit more work to get down to the deep dark stuff, but you can get the idea. I'll get on and do these, and I'll get back to you as soon as I've done these. Now once you've cleaned them up, they should look something like that. I haven't cleaned up the back end as much because that's going to be covered by the scales anyway, and I haven't cleaned up the bevels at all because it's got to be sharpened, so the sharpening will take care of that bit. And it also helps you see which bits you've and make sure that you're sharpening it evenly across the bevel as well. A little bit of grime still on the back there, but when the scales are on and you shape the scales and sand them down, I can get rid of that then. So there we go. Now to put the to grind on the inside edge of sharp curves on blades like this, I use a little die grinder in my drill press, which is just a cheapy Wolfcraft drill press with a Hitachi drill in it, as you can see. Drill and lever operated drill press, and on the bottom I have an old piece of wood which has got the depression in it, which will keep the rounded end of that inside it, so that I can use this as a flat work surface to move the blade around like so and get it level, get it up onto the flat edge of the grinder. Okay. And there you go, you can see that's nice and shiny on the inside there. The next step with knife making is to temper the blades. You can do this several ways. One way is to heat the oven to about 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Pop the blades in when it's up to temperature, leave them in there for an hour to make sure they're up to the 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and then let them turn the oven off and let them cool down with the oven and make sure they're really cool, and then do that a couple of times, and that will heat treat the whole of the blade, like the spine, the edge, and the handle as well. But there's another way of doing it, which is differential heat treatment, which is where you use a blowtorch like this to heat the spine, and you watch for the colour changes as they approach the edge of the blade. So that's the way I'll be doing it. But first I've got to clean up some of this so I can actually see the colour change on the blade. There we go, that's clean enough to check the colour change now. And obviously once you've heated it up with the blowtorch, you need to cool it down, so I quench it in just some old water that's kicking around, my dip tank so to speak. Now what you're looking for is a light sort of straw colour, just creeping towards the tip of the blade. Now once all the blades have been tempered, we can now get to work on the edge onto the bevel, and what I'm using this time is a little belt sander, a bench mounted belt sander, and just to take it down so there's less to sharpen off on the diamond stone after I've finished. Sorry, just some dirty stuff on there. So here we go. Okay, I've just finished sharpening up the blades. I'll wait till I put the handles on before I strop the blades to get them really sharp, but they're pretty sharp as it is now. And the next step is to put the scales on, the liners and the scales. And for 2 of these are going to have some homemade micarta style scales, only 5mm thick because they're small neck knives, so I don't want them too thick. And also some homemade paper micarta liners as well, which are, I'll find the easiest way to show you. Where are we there? Which are around about 0.9mm thick, so near enough a millimetre. So those scales, and then the those liners, and then the scales on top, and that'll be just after this.